O soul who listens not merely with ears, but with the inner heart, have you not felt the weight of your days pressing on your chest like a silent stone? Have you not wondered why the road to virtue is always uphill, while the descent into darkness feels so effortless? This is no accident. The path to paradise was never meant to be flat, for what is paradise but the summit of the soul's longing? And who ascends a summit by lying still? You must choose a struggle or stagnate. There is no third way. The path that leads to truth and eternal nearness is not paved in silk nor softened by ease. It is a jagged ascent where each step requires the soul to bleed a little, where every breath is a resistance against gravity. Not only the pull of the earth, but the gravity of the self, which longs to settle, to sleep, to be unbothered. Do not be deceived by the softness of the valley below. It is full of mirages that promise rest, but deliver rust. Ease, when unearned, is a subtle poison. It lulls the heart into forgetfulness, and forgetfulness is the first death of the soul. Look to the natural world, and it will whisper wisdom to the one whose inner eye is open. Water that is still for too long becomes fall, but when that same water rushes against the hardness of rock, it learns to sing. It dances over stone and carves deep canyons, shaping the earth itself. Do you not see? Hardship does not hinder, it chisels. It sculpts the raw and formless into something that echoes eternity. You were not made to remain untested. Fire was not created to destroy gold, but to refine it. And the flame that surrounds you now, the trial that threatens to consume your peace, is not an enemy but a forge. Paradise is not a meadow stumbled upon in sleep. It is a summit scaled in wakefulness. To reach it, you must climb with torn hands and tired limbs, with a heart that trembles but does not retreat. Every wound you carry, every tear you have shed on this path, is counted and sacred. They are the currency of your becoming. It is a divine pattern. The ones closest to light have often walked through the deepest night. The prophets, the sages, the lovers of the divine, they were not spared struggle. On the contrary, their paths were layered with loss, betrayal, hunger, exile. But with every trial, something within them expanded. Something eternal took root. There was once a student who came to his master in anguish, lamenting that his righteousness had brought him pain. The master, who had tasted the fire and drank from the ocean of paradox, said, "Would you complain that the furnace is hot while it is turning you into gold? Or would you rather remain as dull stone, content in your impurity, untouched by transformation?" The student lowered his gaze, for he saw then that the wound was not a punishment. It was an invitation. You, too, are being invited, not to ease, not to rest, but to awaken, to ascend, to remember. The path is narrow because it was carved for a heart that is willing. And though your feet bleed and your chest heaves beneath the weight, know that each hardship is a proof of the path's nobility. The higher the mountain, the greater the view. But only for those who do not turn back. Struggle is not the wrath of the heavens, nor is it the sign of rejection. It is the fire sent to awaken what sleeps within. It is the trembling voice of mercy in a stern tongue, calling the soul to rise above the weight of its forgetfulness. Struggle is the unseen hand shaping your unseen self. That which does not break you, if you allow it, becomes the tool that remakes you. Do not mistake the pain of becoming for the punishment of being. The rose does not bloom without tearing through the bud. The sun does not rise without first breaking the night. The soul, too, must tear through veils of illusion and layers of comfort if it is to reach its appointed station. There is no other way. Comfort preserves the shell, but struggle reveals the pearl. Without the press of the shell, would the pearl even exist? Look to the mother as she brings forth life. Her body shudders, her breath shortens, her cries pierce the air. And yet no pain is more sacred, no labor more honored. She suffers not for punishment, but for purpose. Her agony is not chaos. It is the language of creation. And so it is with every human soul that dares to give birth to its higher self. The one who struggles with addiction, shackled by his past, staggering toward the light. He too walks a sacred path. Each step is a rejection of death and an affirmation of hope. Each fall, though painful, is not failure, but proof of the war still being waged inside. There is dignity in that war. There is glory in that crawl. And the one who rises from warm sheets before the sun, limbs heavy with sleep, heart drawn to the unseen. Do not underestimate the weight of that choice. It is not small. To stand before the Creator when the world lies in unconscious slumber is a battle. but it is also a metamorphosis. For in that dark silence, the soul is shaped. They are all climbing. They are not the same as those who remain still. With every breath, every groan, every quiet act of resistance against despair, they announce their aliveness to the cosmos. Their pain speaks, I am not dead, I am becoming. Recall the journey of Yusuf, he who was beloved and yet betrayed. He was cast into a pit, sold like a thing, imprisoned though innocent, yet each trial did not diminish him. It refined him. Had he remained in the comfort of his father's home, untouched by betrayal and distance, would he have become the one who ruled with wisdom and mercy? No. The well was not his ruin, the prison not his end. These were wombs from which he emerged reborn. So too is your trial. Do not curse the difficulty. Hold it gently in your heart. It may feel like a cage, but it is also a cocoon. What seems like the end may be the beginning. What feels like death may be the birth of the soul. Beware of the stillness that feels like peace but conceals decay. There is a silence that nourishes, and there is a silence that suffocates. When the soul no longer trembles before truth, when it no longer rises to confront the weight of its own shortcomings, then know that it has begun to die. Not a death of flesh, but of fire. This is the death before death, the slow fading of that which makes you truly alive. You may walk, eat, speak, even smile, but something sacred within lies buried beneath layers of comfort and avoidance. This is stagnation. It does not arrive like a storm. It creeps in like dust in an abandoned house. Slowly, it covers the furniture of your heart, until the once clear mirrors of your soul reflect nothing but shadow. A garden left to itself does not stay beautiful. The weeds do not ask permission to grow. They thrive in neglect. Likewise, a soul without struggle begins to host what is unworthy. Doubt grows where discipline once stood. Desire takes root where devotion was planted. And yet, from the outside, all appears calm. That is the danger of stagnation. It wears the disguise of peace. But it is not peace. It is paralysis. Do not be fooled into thinking that standing still is a neutral act. Time does not pause. The world does not wait. The current moves, and if you do not swim against it, you are drifting, slowly, silently, away from the shore of your purpose. This is the unseen retreat of the spirit, the quiet backsliding that leaves no mark on the skin, but deep scars on the soul. You were not created to remain unchanged. The heart is a battlefield, and if you are not fighting for the good, then you are surrendering to the ease of evil. Not through loud betrayal, but through quiet resignation. The soul begins to make peace with what it once opposed, not because it agrees, but because it is too tired to resist. And in that surrender, it forgets who it is. There was a man once who declared, "I feel no struggle in me." And a sage answered, "Then you have already opened the door to the thief, and now you sit beside him as he robs you." Such is the nature of a soul that no longer wrestles. It has ceased to guard its own sanctuary. It has stopped tending to its fire. O seeker, do not long for comfort more than you long for truth. Comfort will soothe you to sleep. Truth will awaken you sometimes harshly, but always mercifully. It is better to groan beneath the weight of the climb than to smile while sliding into the abyss. There is more danger in stillness than in storm. A heart at war is still alive, but a heart at rest, when it should be wrestling, has already begun to forget the sound of its own beating. And what is a soul that forgets its own pulse, but one already on its way to the grave? The world today wraps its temptations in velvet and calls it progress. Ease is everywhere, delivered at the tap of a screen, comfort on demand, pleasure at the fingertips. But beneath this polished surface lies a sickness of the soul, one so quiet, so invisible that it is mistaken for peace. Modern life whispers a lie that the absence of pain is the presence of fulfillment, that convenience is the same as joy, that access equals meaning. But ease is not the friend it pretends to be. It does not awaken you, it lulls you. It does not nourish you, it numbs you. We are told we are advancing, yet the soul retreats. We live longer, yet feel less alive. In the wealthiest corners of the earth, where food is abundant, lights never go out, and every discomfort can be medicated or distracted, there depression grows, anxiety spreads like fog, loneliness hangs in the air like a silent echo. What kind of paradise is this, where the heart weeps in a palace? The data confirms what the spirit has always known: ease without purpose becomes a prison without bars. The soul was never meant to be idle. It was created to strive, to stretch, to break and mend and break again, until it becomes real. But when every hardship is removed, when struggle is seen as failure and discomfort as injustice, the soul forgets how to grow. We are becoming people who have everything and yet feel nothing. Do you not see the contradiction? We are surrounded by screens that connect us to the world, and yet we are more disconnected from ourselves than ever before. We scroll endlessly, not because we are entertained, but because we are searching for meaning in pixels, for intimacy in illusions, for life in reflections. We consume not out of hunger, but to quiet the ache of our own stagnation. But the ache does not leave, it deepens. You were not made for this kind of ease. You were not created for soft couches and blue light alone. You were made to climb. You were born with a soul that is restless until it rises, a heart that longs not for comfort, but for connection. Connection to meaning, to struggle, to the divine. The climb is not a curse, it is the path. It is the only way to become more than just a reflection of others' desires. It is possible to be surrounded by comfort and still be burning inside. It is possible to have every luxury and still feel lost. True peace is not found in the absence of difficulty, but in the presence of purpose. And purpose cannot be downloaded. It must be lived. So do not trade the depth of your soul for the distraction of the moment. Do not let ease seduce you into forgetting the fire within. Struggle not only reveals who you are, it reminds you of why you were ever born. You walk this path not as a solitary traveler, but as a companion in a caravan of souls, each bearing their own burdens, each climbing their own mountains. Do not let the smile before you fool you. Behind it may lie a night of tears, a dawn of grief that has yet to loosen its grip. The quiet figure seated in the corner, bowed with age, may carry the weight of loss no words can lighten. The boy who fasts while others jeer, whose small frame conceals a will forged in silent discipline, is already ascending a peak you cannot yet see. Struggle is the thread that weaves us together, a language spoken beyond tongues and nations, a sacred dialect of the awakened heart. It does not isolate, it unites. When you feel alone in your pain, remember that the earth itself is heavy with the footprints of those who suffered, who endured, who refused to yield. Consider the lives of the greatest among humanity, those who drew closest to the divine. They were not spared the arrows of hardship. They knew hunger as a companion, mockery as a shadow, exile as a relentless companion. Their flesh bore the marks of trials, scars that testified not to weakness, but to profound strength. Their closeness to the source of all light did not shield them from suffering. Rather, it illuminated the path through it. Their pain was not an obstacle but an elevation, a crucible in which their spirits were purified and made luminous. In their example lies a truth often forgotten. Suffering is not a sign of divine neglect, but a signpost on the road to divine presence. Each wound is a letter in the language of closeness, each tear a step toward the horizon of mercy. The struggle you endure is a blessing in disguise, a sacred passage through which your soul is drawn nearer to its origin. When despair threatens to isolate you, look instead to the faces around you. See the unseen battles carried by those who share your world. Feel the unspoken solidarity of struggle, a bond forged not by ease but by endurance. This companionship is your fortress against the loneliness of pain. It reminds you that to suffer is to belong, to strive is to be human, and to rise is to touch the eternal. No hardship is yours alone. The universe itself bends in sympathy, and the echoes of your struggle join the chorus of countless souls who, like you, climb toward the light. In this shared endeavor, find your strength. In this communion of hearts, find your solace. And in this fellowship of the struggling, know that you are never truly alone. Though the path rises steeply before you, and the weight of each step threatens to bow your spirit, know that the climb itself carries a hidden blessing. One that reveals itself not only at the summit, but in every moment of the ascent. The mountain does not only promise a distant view, it offers a transformation that begins long before the final peak is reached. Every struggle you endure is a seed planted deep within the garden of your soul. When you resist the whisper of temptation, when you silence the restless chatter of the ego, when you choose to listen instead to the subtle voice of truth. These are not mere acts of will, but sacred investments in a treasury unseen by the eyes of this world. This vault is the realm of the eternal, where each effort is recorded as a jewel of light, glowing beyond time and space. Paradise, beloved, is more than a place adorned with gardens and rivers. It is a state of being, a condition of the heart and soul that transcends the physical world. It is the peace that descends upon the restless, the stillness found by those who have wrestled with their inner chaos and emerged victorious. It is the light that illuminates a life filled with meaning, purpose, and surrender to the divine will. You will know paradise in your heart long before your body rests in the soil. It is the sweet taste of serenity amidst turmoil, the deep calm that anchors you when storms rage. It is the sacred bond with the source, an unbreakable thread woven through every trial, every tear, every moment of perseverance. No hardship can sever this connection, for it is the very essence of your existence. Remember the words spoken. Indeed, with hardship comes ease. This promise is not a distant hope, but a living reality. It is the dawn that follows the darkest night, the breath that fills the lungs after the longest struggle. Ease is woven into hardship like the fragrance into a rose. They cannot be separated. The difficulty is the door, and ease the room beyond it. Let your heart be comforted by this truth. The burdens you carry are not meaningless weights, but the very tools of your elevation. The scars you bear are marks of honor, evidence that you have faced the fire and not turned away. With each challenge, you are being shaped, refined, and prepared for a joy that surpasses understanding. So do not despair in your climb. The summit may seem distant, but every step brings you closer. Every struggle is a blessing cloaked in disguise, every moment of surrender a key to the treasure of peace. Hold fast to sincerity, for it is the lamp that will guide you through the darkness to the garden where your soul will rest, and your heart will know the true sweetness of paradise here and now. Now, the moment of decision stands before you like a forked road under the blazing sun. The journey asks for your choice. Will you rise though the climb demands the surrender of ease and comfort, but promises the awakening of your soul? Or will you linger in the shadowed valley, where the air is still and the ground soft, watching others embark toward the light, while the heavy weight of regret seeps quietly into your heart? Comfort is a gentle temptation, a lullaby that soothes the restless spirit into forgetfulness. It whispers that safety lies in stillness, that peace is found in avoidance, that life is best lived in the quiet embrace of ease. Yet this is the trap of the valley, soft, seductive, and ultimately barren. It offers the illusion of life, but beneath its surface lies the slow decay of purpose and meaning. To dwell there is to grow roots in dust, to fade like a flower never kissed by the sun. But beyond the valley rises the path of the brave, a path neither curved nor hidden, but clear and direct, a line drawn firm and unyielding, cutting through the wilderness of doubt and fear. This is the straight path, the one that asks of you everything yet promises everything in return. It does not yield to shortcuts or detours, nor does it grant mercy to the faint of heart. It is the path of struggle, of surrender, of transformation. The ascent is steep. It demands that you shed the weight of old habits, false comforts, and the chains of self-delusion. It calls for courage, to face your own darkness, to wrestle with your ego, to endure pain and disappointment without turning back. It asks you to hold fast to hope when the summit disappears into clouds, to trust the promise of light when all you see is shadow. And yet, this path leads to the gate of paradise, not a distant dream, but a reality for those who choose to climb. The gate is not guarded by ease or entitlement, but opens only to the footsteps worn by perseverance and sincerity. It is a reward not for those who stumble through life with indifferent hearts, but for those who rise again and again, who refuse to surrender to the silence of stagnation. This is your moment, your invitation to greatness, to stand at the crossroads and say, I will climb no matter the cost. To embrace the struggle as the forge of your becoming, the fire that purifies and lights your way. To choose life in all its challenges and beauty over the dull comfort of surrender. The choice is yours, and it is the most sacred gift you have been given. Will you rise or will you remain? The path is clear. The summit waits. The gate opens only for those who dare to struggle. O you who listen with an open heart, awaken, not merely from the rest of your body, but from the deeper sleep that dulls the spirit. Rise, not only from where you sit, but from the slumber of complacency that binds the soul in chains heavier than any mountain. The world waits not for your readiness, nor does time pause for your convenience. Begin now, even as the burden presses upon your chest like a relentless storm, for within that very weight is a hidden mercy waiting to be discovered. Do not seek ease before action, for the soft path leads only to forgetfulness and decay. The struggle itself is the seedbed of transformation. It is not a punishment, but a blessing in disguise, a sacred trial that shapes and sharpens the soul. When you carry the weight of hardship with patience and sincerity, you are cradling the fire that will illuminate your way to the unseen garden. Struggle is not merely for the fleeting pleasures or pains of this world, but for the eternal essence within you. It is the labor of the soul, the sacred task entrusted to you by the divine. When you fight not just against external hardship, but the inner shadows of doubt, fear, and complacency, you step onto the path of true freedom. Struggle now with earnestness, so that one day you may soar beyond the bounds of earthly limitation. Your present hardship is the wings you are growing, the strength you are cultivating to rise above the horizon of pain and limitation. The mountain you climb now is the foundation of your eternal flight. Let your life be the testament to this truth. Though the path was steep, your will was steeper. Though the nights were long and the storms fierce, your spirit did not waver. Your heart remained aflame in the darkness, a light that refused to be extinguished. And when, weary and worn, you stand at the threshold of the eternal, covered in the dust of the journey and marked by the bruises of perseverance, you will hear a voice sweeter than any melody, clearer than the dawn. It will greet you with peace, the peace earned by the patient, the steadfast, the faithful. Peace be upon you for what you patiently endured, and excellent is the final home. This is the promise for those who embrace the struggle. Not a life free of hardship, but a life transformed by it. The promise of rest after the toil, of light after the darkness, of a home where the soul finds its eternal peace. So rise now, beloved traveler. Rekindle the flame within. Let it burn away your fears, your doubts, your excuses. Take the first step, the next step, the step beyond what you think possible. The path awaits, the summit calls, and paradise opens only for those who dare to climb.